Shalom, shalom, Akiyam. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kwadash. I would also like to give a double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, scattered throughout all four corners of this earth. It's just Bayan back again through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And I just wanted to do a continuation of a lesson from the beloved brother, Yashamath, a lesson he was going into earlier today, this morning, matter of fact, titled, Saved from What? In reference to Romans, the 10th chapter, in the 9th and 10th verse. We were, those of us that came up in churches, they will bring this out often, but they never told us what we're going to be saved from, okay, which is our deadly enemy, man, okay, which is none other than Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Now, don't get it twisted. Israel has, many enemies. These heathen nations as a whole, they're all our enemies pursuing the Psalms, the 83rd chapter, and Lord willing, we'll get that, but there's an arch enemy, okay, an enemy of fierce countenance, okay, that would show no mercy to our people, man, and ultimately will be on the crosshairs of our power, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, in the latter days. You see, pursuing the Isaiah, the 63rd chapter. So through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, what I want to do is I want to go to the humble beginnings, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy, right? And let's go to the curses to pinpoint and target, okay, our arch enemy, which it's a curse, to have these heathens on us, man, to have these heathens over us. You see, so first and foremost, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Now, when we go to Deuteronomy 28 and 48, it reads, Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things, right? We got to go to our enemies for everything we need. All of our resources come from our enemies, man. See, we're not sovereign. We have no sovereignty. We have no standing military. You see? We don't own nothing, man. We don't have a seat on the UN. You see that? Why? Because we're under this curse, right? Let's continue on. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, right? Captivity, bondage, right? Until he have destroyed thee. Now, what I want to do is let's jump. Let's jump to Psalms. We're going to come back to Deuteronomy. But let's go to Psalms, the 83rd chapter, real quick, to get some insight on these enemies, right? And the arch enemy himself, which is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Now, it's titled, God implored to confound his enemies. See, giving credence that we have enemies, Jake. All right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans caught up in this mindset that you don't have any enemies, man. Okay? We have enemies. All right, let's get this. The book of Psalms, chapter 83, and I'm going to start from verse 1, and it reads, a song or psalm of Asaph, right? Keep not thou silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head, right? They talking a lot of shit. They have a lot to say about Yasha Allah, okay, and our power, right? They've lifted up their head, meaning what? They're thumbing their nose up to our power. They're proud against our power, and they're proud against us, man. You see, because the thing about it is these heathen, they know that we are the sons and daughters of who they ignorantly call God, man. They know this, okay? Starting with these elite, you see? And these low-level heathen, they know that there's something different about Jake. You know, Jake got that that glow. You know what I mean? That's how you can pinpoint and target a speckled bird. Because a speckled bird stands out amongst that nation that they're scattered in, they may look like. You know, they have salt. There's something different about them. Because it's that spirit. You see? The spirit of Jake in them. Right? Let's continue on. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Right? Israel are the hidden ones. Why? Because anybody else in this earth can be an Israelite, a Hebrew Israelite, but the real Hebrew Israelites. Okay? But the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which the curses in Deuteronomy 28 rest upon perfectly. You see? But here it is. Any other nation can say, oh, I'm from the tribe of Levi. Oh, I'm from the tribe of Benjamin. Oh, I'm from the tribe of Judah. Okay? And it's accepted. You see? Giving credence that we are those hidden ones, man. All right, let's continue on. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And this is what these heathen nations want, starting with Esau, Edom, okay, being the god of this world. Okay, he is in power in these latter days. He's the head heathen, and he in future prophecy specifies that this damn devil will be in power in the latter days, man. You see? What's that? Second Ezra is the 6th chapter, man. Esau is the end of the world. See? Evil E will be in power at the end of this thing. Okay? Which is the arch enemy, our evil twin brother, man. You see? Of Israel, the evil twin brother of Israel, man. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Right? Let's continue on. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Okay, now we have a list of these nations. And the first name on this list is who? The Tabernacles of Edom. Okay, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. And you got the Ishmaelites, right? Which are those Arabs, right? Moab, the Hagarenes, Africans. Gabal, I believe those are Africans too. Ammon, the Japanese, and so on and so forth. But when you get this word Edom, real quick, just so we can shed some light on this.
Strong's H123. Edom. Edom.
Okay, what's it mean? Red. All right, this is why we call him the so-called white man. All right, there's one nation of people that their blood comes forth. Okay, because they have no pigment. All right, why? Because they carry the curse of Cain. Okay, Cain being the first murderer documented. He killed Abel, right, out of pure jealousy and hate. Go read about it. You see, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua cursed him with leprosy, man, the Hansen's disease. And it came forth out of Esau. Okay? Read about that in Deuteronomy, Genesis, the 4th chapter goes into the mark of Cain, right? Which is leprosy, right? The Hansen's disease. And then Genesis, the 25th chapter, you can read about Esau when he came out red. You see? Because that's the same spirit. Okay? The spirit of Cain, man. It's in Esau. This is this devil. Okay? You understand? He's the arch enemy of our nation. All right? History testifies against him that this is true. Do some research. You will figure it out if the spirit allows. You see? First nation on the list is Edom, which means red. Now, don't get it twisted. All right? There are going to be Israelites that look like this devil. Blue eyes, blonde hair, blood coming forth. But guess what? They're Israelites, and their spirit will bear witness to the spirit that they are. You see? So don't get that twisted. Now, let's go back to Deuteronomy real quick, right? I want to make another point. So the book of Deuteronomy, what we're doing is we're honing in on that arch enemy of Israel. Okay? And this is who we have to be saved from. Okay? Because this is going to be the nucleus of Jacob's trouble prior to those missiles coming. You see, the day of doom. So back in Deuteronomy 28 and 29, it reads, The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth. As swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Right? Whose representation, whose emblem, whose symbol is the eagle? America. The American bald eagle is their representative. Okay, which is a proud bird. It's the highest flying bird, and it's proud. Okay, and this is referring to these Edomites. You see, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Right? Why do you think Christopher Colon, right, Christopher Columbus, that devil? Why do you think he brought Hebrew interpreters with him when he came over here to the New World? Okay, where the 10 lost tribes were at. Why do you think he did that? Because he couldn't speak Hebrew, man. And now through the course of our captivity, we've adopted this bastard tongue English and these other bastard tongues, man. You see? The Spanish and so on and so forth. Okay? Well, we were speaking Lashawan Kwadash, the ancient Paleo Hebrew tongue. Okay? The language of Canaan, man. Which we're turning back to now in these latter days, which also fulfills biblical prophecy. But that's another lesson for another time. Right? Let's continue on, right? A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young, merciless. Okay, we can go as far back as early as the transatlantic slave trade, man. Who was hanging out pregnant women and cutting the fetuses out of their stomach and watching it hang? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Okay, this is why when you go to let me get a precept real quick. When you go to Ezekiel, the 25th chapter, that's the spirit. The title is Judgment on Gentile Nations. Okay? Now we're going to go to Esau's, right? Now what's it say in reference to this demon? Right? Ezekiel 25:12, right? And it reads, Thus saith the Lord power, because that Edom hath dealt against the house of Judah, the house of Judah. Remember, Judah's the head tribe. But this devil has greatly offended all 12 tribes. You see? By taking vengeance, and hath greatly offended and revenged himself upon him. Right? Yeah, now we had this man in subjection as recently as what? The Byzantine Empire. I believe that was from around 300 AD to about 1300, and 1300, late 1300 AD. And then this devil came back into power throughout the time of the Renaissance period. Okay? This man came out of the pit. Right? He came out of those caves. You see? And this is when this man started to greatly offend the nation of Israel, man. Okay? This is when this man was doing all these heinous acts to Jake. Okay? From raping whole households, man, to eating Jake, man. Making jackets out of him. See? This is why it says he greatly offended. He was making sport out of killing Jake, man. And out of terrorizing Jake. He was making sport of it. You see? Hey, but there's a recompense for that. See? And we're coming into that recompense in these latter days. We're living in the times of his visitation. You see, let's go back to the curses real quick. I want to make one more point before we continue on, before we get into our Redeemer who's going to save his people from these devils, starting with Esau. Okay? The Redeemer being Yahweh Shai is going to save his people. Okay? No other nation. His people. Starting with the elect of his people. You see, and we're going to make that point through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Lord willing. So back in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. And I wanted to jump down to verse 68. Okay? And it reads, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 68, and it reads, And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. And Egypt represents what? bondage. Let's get this real quick.
Strong's H 4714. Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim.
Right? Egypt, right? Here we go. Land of the Copts, right? Let's get Strong's info. Right? Mizraim, right? Egyptians, double straits. You see? Double straits. And the strait is a position of difficulty. Okay? That's what a strait is. And this is a double strait we're in. We're in spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Okay? And what did it say? Let's go back. It said, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. You see? Now this coincides with the northern and southern kingdom. Why? Because these devils were bringing the southern kingdom off of the west coast of Africa throughout the time of the Roman persecution after 70 AD, right? They were taking Jake because they knew Jake was scattered on the west coast of Africa. You see? And these Africans played a major role in that. Okay? You can read the book of Joel, it goes into that. You see? And they brought the southern kingdom over to the new world. Okay, and what were they doing with the northern kingdom? They were taking the northern kingdom off of this land, and they were shipping them throughout Europe and stuff. Do the research, look it up. You see, this curse rested upon northern and southern kingdom because we are those people. You understand, right? By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. In reference to what? Our land. We will see our land no more again until we're brought back to our land by our Redeemer, right? But let's continue on. And there ye shall be, right? And where? In Egypt, in the land of our captivity, right? And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, right? Weren't there auction blocks out here in America, spiritually Sodom and Egypt, in the beginning stages of this cattle slavery, throughout the transatlantic slave trade? Yes, there were. Okay? They had all 10 tribes on auction blocks, man. You see? And no man shall buy you. And that word buy, let's go back into the Strong's to make this point.
Strong's H 7069. Kana.
Right, and when you go into the biblical usage, what we want A, right? Of God originating, creating, redeeming his people. Redeeming his people. And who's the Redeemer gonna come for? Let's go here. I'm gonna go into Kings. Let's go here. The book of Isaiah, the 59th chapter, and the 20th verse, and it reads, and the Redeemer. Who's the Redeemer? Yahweh Shai, the mighty right hand of Yahweh, shall come where? To Zion. Hey, that word Zion in the Lashawan Kodash is to Zion, which means what? Monument or memorial. You see, it's another way to say Jerusalem. And unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith the Lord. That's why Galatians 6:16 says what it says. Okay? Mercy is going to be shown to those that walk in this, and according to this rule, those that repent in Jacob. Not everybody, man. This is not going to be like ancient Egypt. No. Zechariah 13:8 is playing out on this side. 2/3 of you are going to be put down grievously. Okay? During what time? During the time of Jacob's trouble. You see, but the elect is going to be saved out of it. And this is what we got to be saved from, man. See, this is what you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans don't get. That's wrapped up in this wacky-tacky Christianity, man. This is what we got to be saved from. We got to be saved from our deadly enemy, which is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Okay? And in the climax of this thing, we need to be saved from those missiles, Lord willing, we're part of the elect. You see? This is what we got to be saved from. This is what Romans 10's going into, man. You see? Let's get this real quick. The book of Jeremiah chapter 30, right? In verse 7, and it reads, at last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. Right? Daniel's 12:1. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. Remember, Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Okay? Jacob is referring to the 12 tribes of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Right? But he shall be saved out of it. The elect. Lord willing, we're part of that precious number. The elect is going to be saved out of it. See? We just read in Isaiah 59. Let's go. Let's read it one more time. Let's just read it one more time. We're going to come right back to Jeremiah 30. Right? Isaiah 59 and 20 again. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith the Lord. For you to turn, you turn back, meaning you repent. All right? Those are the only ones that are going to be saved out of Jacob's trouble. Right? Let's continue on. Which let me make this point. The nucleus of Jacob's trouble, right? The source, the source of that trouble is going to be Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right? That's the point that has to be made. And this is who we have to be saved from. You see? For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, right? The Lord of armies, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck. That same yoke we read about in Deuteronomy 28 and 48, if you were paying attention. Okay, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. You see? After Jacob's trouble, captivity is over with. Okay? After those missiles fly. The book of Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 9, and it reads, but they shall serve the Lord their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. You see? The tabernacles of David are being raised up, and they're going to be fully erected after those missiles fly. You see? They're going to be fully erected after those missiles fly. And what's going to happen after those a tabernacle that Salaki? And what's going to happen after that tabernacle was raised up? Let's go to damn fire truck came out of nowhere. The book of Amos chapter 9. And verse 11, and it reads, in that day. And what day? The latter day. Right? I will raise up, Salakia, will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. And what was King David doing in the days of old? Subduing these heathen nations and setting up garrisons throughout all of their provinces. You don't believe me, right? Read 2 Samuel, the 8th chapter. Okay? Read 2 Samuel, the 8th chapter. Matter of fact, let's just go there real quick. Bear with me. I want to go straight to the point. Let me start at verse 11. I'll just read down. The book of 2 Samuel chapter 8 and verse 11, and it reads, which also King David did dedicate unto the Lord with the silver and the gold that he had dedicated of all the nations which he subdued. Let's get a list of Syria and of Moab and of the children of Ammon, right? You see? And of the Philistines and of Amalek, which is the chief house of Esau, Edom. The chief house, these small hats, man. See? That's who that is. And of the spoil of Hadadezer and Hadadezer, son of Rehob, king of Zobah. Okay, and David got him a name when he returned from smiting of the Syrians in the valley of Salt, being 18,000 men. And he put garrisons where? In Edom. Okay, throughout all of Edom. Put garrisons. And all they of Edom became David's servants. Okay, this same tabernacle is going to be raised up in these latter days. It's being built now by the men of the Lord you see it on the highways and byways, man. Starting with the elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down to us like-minded men coming in the same spirit throughout all four corners of this earth. Okay? This same tabernacle is being built up right now. It's going to be fully erected after those missiles hit. And Yahweh Shai makes his appearance, man. Okay? And completely takes over this earth. Okay? In righteousness. And the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went, the sure mercies of David, which we hope to have. You see, the hopeful elect hope and pray that we have those sure mercies of David in these latter days. You see, let's go back to Jeremiah 30. I just wanted to make that point. Matter of fact, let me go back and finish off the Amos, if I may. Right? Amos, right? Chapter 9 and verse 12, and it reads, that they may possess the remnant of Edom. See, because this is what had happened in the days of old. It's going to happen again. Thus says the Bible. And who else? And all the heathen. And who? And of all the heathen, which are called by my name, saith the Lord that doeth this. So it's going to be Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai that establishes this, okay? So it cannot be disannulled. Let's go back to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30. See, this is the deadly enemies we got to be saved from, starting with Esau, Edom. All right? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is the arch enemy of Yasha Allah. And this is who we got to be saved from. Salakia, bear with me. Back in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, and verse 9, and it reads, but they shall serve the Lord their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord. Neither be dismayed, O Israel. And this is the elect, okay? Because we know that the 2/3 are not going to return. You see, pursuing the Isaiah, the 10th chapter, only a remnant's going to return. Okay? This is referring to the elect. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord. Neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. You see, throughout all four corners of this earth, primarily right here in Mystery Babylon the Great, okay? Where the northern and southern kingdom will oppress together, man. This is where the majority of the deliverance is going to take place. Right here in Mystery Babylon the Great, spiritually Sodom and Egypt. It's not ironic that the majority of the chariot sightings that they have on record are over America. That's not a coincidence. You see? Let's continue on. And Jacob shall return and shall be in rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. You see? So, at the end of the day, it's Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, that we have to be saved from. And who's going to save us? Who's going to defend us? Who's going to protect us? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You see? And ultimately, the elect, Lord willing, we're part of that precious number, is going to be delivered from the noise of the archers, man, which consists of those ICBM missiles, okay? Which are going to be shot throughout all four corners of the earth, primarily here in Mystery Babylon the Great, all right? Creating a thermonuclear fallout where America is going to become a lake of fire, coined in the book of Revelations, okay? But Lord willing, we're saved out of that, man. Lord willing, we receive those sure mercies of David. But this is what we got to be saved from, Yasha Allah. All right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that may not understand that. You see? And I just want to do that continuation from the beautiful lesson that the beloved brother Ayasha Maf did, out of the GMS Mississippi camp. Lord willing, you Akiam and Akwathiam We're edified. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. Lord willing, you Akiyam and Akwathium, once again, were edified. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kal Halalim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash. Shalom.